I just try to have that dog mentality on everything. And I think I try to even more than hunting, like as far as like work, life, and a husband and a father, it's that predators never quit mantra. Because nothing's easy, right? Nothing is easy that we do in life. Everything's a competition. Everybody is fighting for your position. Everybody is fighting to be better than you.
You are listening to the Run the Rack Outdoors podcast, where we take an all-in, leave no doubt approach to all things adventure hunting. From the big woods to the high country. How about that? Let's learn together as we discuss with our expert guests on what it takes to be successful in the backcountry. I'm your host, Weston Homa. Let's get into it. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Run the Rack Outdoors podcast. This week, I got on a very special guest. We just got done talking, and it was such a good conversation. When I was thinking about guests that I wanted to bring on when I started this platform, Run the Rack, and who would be a good guest to really encapsulate the message that I try to send out here every week, who would be the best for that? And I'm telling you, this guy was at the top of the list. So I was stoked to get him on. Sam Davis, Predators Never Quit. That's kind of his mantra. And this dude doesn't just talk about it. He walks too. So Sam is a Western hunter from Wyoming, consistently gets it done on a bunch of big animals. So I've been following Sam for a while. I've heard him on Brian Barney's podcast multiple times with Eastman's. I've even seen his work, his written articles and stuff in Eastman's, and just such a cool dude. Just gets you so fired up listening to him, just so motivating. And you can tell how passionate he is for chasing elk, chasing mule deer, and just a little bit of everything. So go check out Sam. He's got some hunt films now with Stone Glacier, and you can go follow him on Instagram. And yeah, just such a good conversation. We got into his hunts this fall, got into different techniques with stalking and things like that. And then we also just got into that mindset and that attitude and the Predators Never Quit mantra and what it takes to get it done consistently, and not just in the backcountry, but just in life too. And that's what we're all about here at Run the Rack. So really appreciated Sam hopping on. Other things going on for me. Okay, so I'm recording this the night before I'm going to drop it. So recap kind of what I got going on. So yeah, I've been chasing. I got this late season cow elk tag in the winter range. Was out again this past weekend on some low country. It was pushing 70 degrees on Saturday. It's just been even up high, there's just not a lot of weather. So the elk aren't really moving down. I actually knocked on some doors on some private because there are a few resident herds in this unit that just kind of stick around on private. And I'm a regular public land, do it yourself, general tag kind of hunter. So that's not really something I've ever done before, but opportunity here just to fill the freezer. Made some contacts, and I think I touched on this last week in the intro. I don't know, maybe I'll get a call. Was able to watch a bunch of running mule deer, a couple really nice bucks. I just enjoy that, just time behind the spotter, running the gear, getting all the reps in. This is all just still good stuff just to sharpen the sword. So that's how I look at it. But watching these running mule deer, just feel like I'm learning a lot and definitely drop some pins. So I'll see if I can get back out there next year. And it was fun to get all that experience the last couple weekends, because then I really picked Sam's brain on how to hunt these running mule deer with a bow, because he tagged out on a really good buck here just past week or so. So yeah, that's what I got going on. Training really hard now that my hunting's kind of wrapped up. Been running a ton. I did a real nice 22-mile long trail run in the foothills on Sunday. Really try to treat that like a little bit of a race, just to kind of see where I'm at. And did pretty well. I got a 50K in January that pulls in a decent crowd, and I think if I can keep up that pace, I'll be looking to compete. So really just want to really dial in the training. I like to use these long endurance events and the weight training and all the stuff I do just to get ready for next September. So that's how I'm looking at it. Like I said, felt really good. Body feels good. I mean, that was just yesterday and I feel great. I ran again today after work, and gonna bang out that 50K in January. I got the Boston Marathon in April, and then I'm looking at a few other ultras for this spring and summer. Definitely a 100-miler at some point, and it's going to be some point in July. I just don't know which one I'm going to sign up for yet. But that's what's on the docket for me. Other than that, working the 9 to 5, all good there, and just having a good old time here in Idaho. So that's it this week, everybody. Please enjoy this episode here with Sam. I think it was a good one, super motivating. Let's all have a great week. Let's work as hard as we can. Let's leave no doubt, and let's run the rack. All right, everybody. See ya. Go Hunt has a single purpose: make it easier for hunters to get into the field. Hunting tags are only getting harder to obtain, and Go Hunt is a research platform helping navigate the ins and outs of drawing tags and researching hunts across the West. I've had a Go Hunt membership for years now, and I'm a big fan of the articles written on there by Brady and Trail. The content is next level stuff that has helped me a ton. From animal behavior to archery, they are sharing all the nuggets. I also love the hunt films on YouTube. They are extremely inspirational, and they'll make you want to get out in the mountains ASAP. Check out the Go Hunt Gear Shop, where they have everything you need for this coming hunting season. Use the code RACK, that's RACK, for 10% off eligible items in the shop. And you can use the code RACK for $50 in-shop credit when you join as an insider. So sign up for a membership and immediately get $50 back toward hunting gear. Check it out. You won't regret it. I'm stoked to get you on.
Doing great. Doing really good. It's November now, so season's kind of like, I would say, winding down in my parts, and yeah, doing good. We're in the middle of chasing a little girl. She's in basketball right now, so dad duties of that, and trying to get some young horses rode because the weather's so nice right now that I'm trying to do stuff that I'm not usually able to do this time of year because usually there's snow on the ground, it's frozen. So we're still busy trying to get horses rode and doing a little bit of whitetail hunting. And yeah, man, it's kind of in chill mode. I'm in heavy dad mode, heavy husband mode right now. So
Well, there you
yeah.
go. Dude, it has been like warm. So I'm not, if people are listening to this because they see Sam and haven't heard me yet or anything, I just moved to Boise, Idaho. I'm from Pennsylvania. Dude, yeah, what is going on with this weather? It's mid-November. I was out last weekend on just like a late cow elk tag, glassing up mule deer, and it's like pushing 70 degrees.
Yeah, I
What's
think
going on?
it's just one of those years. People have recency bias. Like I like that people think, oh, what is the deal? Blah blah blah. My buddies and I always joke about this. That there's years when I've been guiding hunters in November, and there's a reservoir close by, and I've driven by it in the middle of November, guiding mule deer and whitetail hunters, and people are out there ice fishing. And then there's been years like this where you're struggling to like, you're finding shade, you're glassing shaded spots for critters like you would back in October and September. It's just one of those years. I'll take it. Every day that it's nice on the front end of the winter time is meaning that the winter's going to be shorter on the back end. That's the way I look at it. Because remember, if you heard about this, the winter 22, 23, I think we had snow on the 5th of November, and it hit negatives like the 5th or 8th of November. I remember chasing whitetails, and we still had snow in the front country until it was late April. I mean, there was still snowdrifts sitting around until late April, first part of May. So those winters will come, and I don't really I could care less about those ones. So we'll take all this nice ass weather we can get right now.
Yeah, and that was when the mule deer kind of took a little bit of a hit that year too, right? Was
Oh
it
yeah,
that winter? Yeah.
that winter was a heavy hit on a lot of critters. But yeah, mule deer took a big hit for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I'm excited to get you on, dude. I was telling you before we hit record, I've been listening to you on the Eastman's podcast with Brian. Just listening to your conversation just get me so fired up. And like, I've been lucky enough to connect with Brian a little bit too. He did mine. I did an episode of his. And like, yeah, dude, isn't he just the man? Like, you just get fired up listening to him.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Brian is like Brian is who he is. Like Brian
Yeah.
is the same guy that you talk to on your podcast. Brian is the same guy that I've never hunted with him. I've spent some time in the hills with him doing some scouting trips, some 3D shooting stuff for a guy that we used to work together with. Anyways, yeah, so I've spent time with him in tents. I've spent time with him glassing and that kind of stuff. And Brian's the same guy you guys hear on the podcast, the same guy that's on the show. He's the most upbeat, happy, person ever. I think hunting with him would be legit because he would never, like, you could be getting piss pounded by rain, lightning striking all around, hadn't seen a buck in 5 days, and Brian would be like, dude, isn't this the best? Like, I
Yeah.
can just imagine be like, bro, like, let's, like, this tomorrow's gonna be great. Like, that's how Brian Barney's attitude is. And he's the man, and he's a killer. Like, I really look up to that guy. He's one of the guys that's probably the top three that I've looked up to for a long time. He's a stud.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. And dude, you you are too. So that's why I'm happy to get you on. I've been listening to you on there, and then just seeing your articles and stuff in Eastman's as well. And yeah, you put a lot of animals on the ground every year, and you have the motto of "Predators never quit," which I'm probably going to ask you about. And yeah, I wanted to first get into like your fall a little bit because you had another great year. It seemed like was that a week or two ago that mule deer you put down?
About a week and a half ago, got a nice late season mule deer. It was a fun hunt. A really cool opportunity. Anytime you get to chase mule deer with a bow, it's my favorite while I'm chasing mule deer. Elk are my favorite while I'm chasing elk, right?
Okay.
With my bow, because it's not the same as September to where they're bedded, you know, and you're moving in on them when they're in their bed and they're in their beds for 3 and 4 hours. It's not that game. I mean, they're up, they're moving, they're bedded, they're up, they're moving, they're bedded. It's like chasing elk in a sense. I truly feel like it's like chasing rutting elk, but even more so, I think, because mule deer, they'll move all day long. Where a rutting bull elk, there's a few days during the rut where he's moving the whole day, but once he's got his cows in his harem, you know, those cows kind of dictate what he does. And so that they're running they're hanging in the timber, then they're out to graze, back to the cover, and so on. Mule deer, like this buck, man, I was in some pretty wide open country. I think we covered almost 12 miles that day chasing this one buck, and I spotted him at daylight. Didn't get him killed till noon, and just to make the loop around to get him killed, it was a 4 mile loop to get him behind him, and then it was like we lost him when he went over the ridge. So it was not just to. I knew I had to get around that ridge to get my wind right to peek over, but then it was like completely had to re-find him again because he'd been rutting for 3 hours while I made this loop around him. And so yeah, it was a fun hunt. It was a really cool buck. Old buck, which I was all about. I mean, he was super mature deer, which is I love that. And boy, he was rutted down. I haven't put any pictures up on Instagram yet, but I have some pictures of him. He's probably one of the most tore up bucks I've ever shot. As far as, and I've guided I don't know, tons and tons and tons of my life. I've been guiding as well. This deer had the most war wounds on his rib cage that I've ever seen on any critter, and he had puncture wounds from his hip all the way up into his neck, down to his forelegs, and even pussed up. That's how bad he'd been gored. And this you wouldn't even have known. He was cruising around like he had 6 does with him. He was in full rut, running every other buck off. So he was a warrior. So yeah, it was a really neat hunt. That kind of that was a big hunt. And now, like I said, I'm back home chasing whitetails with my daughter. We've had some close calls, and it's not like I don't have an 8-year-old that can sit around. We have a ground blind set up right now, but we last for about 45 minutes, and that we get like prime time in the morning in it, and then she's ready to go rattle and move. So we haven't got a whitetail on the ground yet. If I was doing the traditional sit around in a tree stand or in the blind, we probably would have one killed. But we've been spot and stalking whitetails with our bows on a river bottom, which is some of the hardest stalking I've ever done. And we were at a great buck at 37 yards yesterday morning, and angles were wrong, and I just didn't want to screw up a shot. But we're gonna get one. We got another week left, so 2 weeks left. So we'll see what happens. But
There you
yeah,
go.
that's the deer you asked me about. Do you want me to go in more detail about
I
like
wanted
this?
to, yeah. Well, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit on rutting mule deer because
Yeah,
I see some guys like do these hunts and post about it and stuff. And like now that I'm out here in the West, I don't know. This is something I'm interested in because first of all, been asking myself a lot lately. Like last few years, been coming out hunting elk and mule deer. And now that I'm out here, I got a couple mule deer on the ground and just been spending more time hunting them. And I don't know what it is about mule deer. I think like I don't know if I'm leaning that way a little bit more. They're just I don't know, dude. There's just something about them, just the mystique. And like I'm out here the last couple weekends. My hunting's pretty much over, but the last few weekends I have this late season cow elk tag, and but it's for like the winter range. But it's been so warm, and there's some I'm looking for like some resident elk that just live in this unit all year, but they're on these like ranches. So I actually did knock on a couple doors. So we'll see how that goes. But the public land hunting for this tag is over with. Couldn't find any elk on public. There really might not be any, just these little pockets of BLM, but turned up good bit of rutting deer. So it was really fun just to sit behind the glass and watch just rutting mule deer for most of the day when I wasn't finding any elk. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, gosh, dude, if I had a bow, well, first of all, I'd be so fired up. But then my second thought was like, what would even be my play? Because you have all these eyes, dude. And like, I tagged out on my first mule deer with a bow in the high country early September, 13,000 feet in Colorado this year. Sat on a buck for 5 hours. He was by himself in his bed. I mean, not that that was easy. That had its own challenges.
Yeah.
But I was just, yeah, I was. Oh my god, I was so stoked. But I'm watching these deer like during the rut right now, just like in the like kind of like the foothills
Yeah.
here in Idaho, and I'm like, man, like because I was actually on top of the ridge and I was looking down on these draws, and these does had already picked me out, and it wasn't even from like thermals because my thermals were coming up, and like I don't know, man, when you're in that open country hunting mule deer like in November. Open-ended question, but like walk me through your process of even putting on a stalk with that, with all the eyes of the does and like they're switched on and like all these things.
Yeah. So that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
I've chased mule deer. Geez, starting back probably in 2003 was probably my first like rut tag for mule deer with a bow, and so it's been a huge learning process. But I would say you would talk about like the predators never quit. It's very aggressive. Yeah, you're hunting the does the whole time. You're hunting the does. You don't the buck's with them, so you don't really care what he's doing. For instance, this stalk last week, I get to the spot. I roll only like 600 yards in, roll into it, not even that far, 400 yards in, roll into the spot, and I'm glassing this basin that is wide open. Like I could see for 2 miles of just sagebrush, and the sagebrush is only like knee high. Like it is as wide open. It has with a few cuts and some draws in it that drop to probably like 12 to 15 foot elevation change. I mean, it is very, very rolling country. And I think that's why there was no pressure. There was nobody else hunting it. And I think it's because it was so wide open. I mean, it was as open of country as you could hunt. When I first spotted the does that I saw, they were like 1.4 miles away when I straight lined it on my Onyx. And I saw four does, put a spot. They were so far that I like was putting a spotting scope on them just to see. Naked eye, you could see these little gray spots out there. Sun was coming up behind them. Sun was hitting me in the face. Spot and scope on them, didn't see them. They boogered. They kind of saw me because I was exposed. They ran and kind of went into one of those slight depressions, which gave me time to kind of get down low into one of those like 15-foot creek bottoms. I worked my way closer, probably like 800 yards closer, 900 yards closer. When I eased up again, then they had moved and they joined with six other does and a really good buck, the buck being the one that I shot. And so, like, from that whole approach, it was just I had to just sit and just watch them. I couldn't make a move because it was so wide open. There was no play there, and I just literally had to watch them go all the way. The group ends up splitting back, so the four went one way, the six does and the buck went the other. He had a hot doe in that group of six, and they worked all the way up and over this ridge. So then I was with a guy, and we had to decide which way the wind was going to like change because I knew it was going to take hours. Well, to be honest with you, they went on to private land. It was a thin strip of private land surrounded by public. And so we worked our way up and up and up this ridge to where I could like finally I caught eyes on them. They were in the private, and this was like a ballsy move. They were in the private. My wind was blowing. If I'd have kept going, my wind would have been blowing right at them, but I couldn't hunt them where they were. So I worked my way up the ridge, until they would wind me, and I wanted to blow them and make sure they'd go out and to go out in the public.
Yeah.
So I
Blow them
100%
off
did it.
private. Okay.
We did. And so we worked our way slowly and slowly, just kept working, stop. We'd sit there for like minutes and then we'd go again. And this buck was chasing this doe. And I was like, eventually she's going to get our wind. It's a matter of time. I didn't want them to see us. So if they caught us late, and sure enough, all of a sudden she just pops up out of the draw. They're like 450 yards away. She pops up out of the draw. You can see her like look around, and she kind of like does the mule deer like high headed, like prances off, takes all of them with her to the top of the hill. They disappear, then they come back walking up. Now there is a slight ridge, so I went from the big flats. We've worked our way to a ridge line. She gets to the ridge, she comes back over, does the peak, like tries to catch whatever she smelled. Then she just eases off, and it was the softest bump that I could have ever done, and it works because on the backside of that there was two cuts, two drainages. But like I said, I had to do a 4 mile loop to get all the way around the private and then come over the back of the top to the windright. And by this time it was 11:30. Last time I'd seen that buck was at like 7:50 in the morning. I didn't lay eyes on him again until like 11:30, 11:15, let's say. And I was doing all the way out. So now I know they're going to be down below me somewhere. And when I roll up, it was a cool day. There happened to be a doe bedded on the wide open sagebrush. Now they're like 900 yards from me, so a long ways. So my buddy and I, we stacked on the top of each other. I'm going through black Angus cows. There's a bunch of black cows on this chunk of public. And I said, you stay tight to me. We just got low. We had to cover about 400 yards of country that was wide open in the plain sight of them. But there was cows way off to our right. So we just hunkered over with our backpacks on, kept our heads low, like literally hip to like face to like his face was right in my ass, and we're bent over and we're like cruising straight at these deer going down. We had to cover 400 yards, and we just went, didn't stop, stayed low, and moved right at him as aggressive as you can be. And I just kept my eyes on him, eyes on him, eyes on him. Finally, we disappeared out of sight. And those does, I mean, they must have thought we were cow walking towards them, whatever it was. It got us to that low spot. Then we eased another 200 yards in there. There was a patch of sagebrush. I ranged at 126 yards. I knew they were below it somewhere. From then, it was take off my backpack at that point, and then I just had faith that there would be enough undulation in the tall grass to crawls on my hands and knees. So now it's wide open country. I think the deer are between 140 and say like 300. I don't know, because when you're glassing something from behind, you have a reference, and then I don't know how far they were from that reference point. I was having a hard time getting a range because it was such wide open. We're talking a difference between 800 yards and 1,000 yards. They're out there, and that's about all I had. And so we get down there, kick our packs off, and then we start easing across this. And the guy behind me, he's running a camera, so we're really trying to like catch this all on film too. So it's not just like, if it was me solo, I'd have just rolled in there solo. It would have been a lot less stress, but trying to get it all on film was a whole nother thing. Anyways, long story short, we just eased our way across. I had a landmark picked out 126 yards, which was a sagebrush. I get to about there, and I'm just crawling on my hands and knees, my stomach, and finally I could see his antlers, and he is at the same elevation as me, and there's a little swell of a little creek bottom that has probably about, I only had to take 3 steps. So it's probably a 10-foot rise from the flat that we're on to the bottom of this creek bottom, but it runs kind of over to where he is. Our first range I get on him is 265, so he's still out there a ways, but I can see two does and the buck's antlers. The grass is deep enough I can just see tips of his ears and his antlers. I can see the tips of the doe's ears. So we're good as far as their eyes. And so that, all this being said, you're kind of asking about it, is when I say aggressive, I'm super aggressive. I only had a matter of time before he was going to be back up on his feet. I know that I saw him at 11:15. By now we're getting close to 11:45. So for 30 minutes he's been laying there. I've seen one or two does get up once, back down, up once, back down. It's only a matter of time before he's going to get up, make his rounds, and maybe start pushing him again. So that's the thing about the rut, is you're given just these short amounts of time when he's laying there and resting before he's up and doing it again. So you really got to hammer down and get close. So then it was like, play it like you would the elk rut, like get in, get tight, let them make the last mistake. That was my plan. And so from 265, we hustle, we crawl. I get to the edge of the cut. The next range I get's like 230. And I was like, we can hustle up to this sagebrush. My buddy's got a big long lens. He can video from a little ways back. He sets up his tripod, crawls up, has at 190, he's set up. I kick my boots off at 190. Now I'm in my socks, and I just start rolling down this slight cut right to these deer. I don't know where all the does are. I can see 3 does, the buck. I know there's like 2 or 3 does I'm missing. So all this being said, I know this is long-winded
No,
about,
this is
but
perfect.
this is like the stock. I roll in, and they're going down this drainage, and the drainage is straight, and then it takes a dog leg to the left. So to visualize, dog legs left, and when dog legs left, I can't see around that corner. When it gets to the dog leg left, though, I just want to go straight up and climb straight up that bank, and he is going to be eye level with me. I don't know the yardage what he's going to be, but I'm thinking sub 60. So I get to the dogleg left. I'm really careful right there because I don't want there to be any does in this bottom. This creek bottom is probably 30 yards wide, and it's got full of green grass in the bottom of it. So they could absolutely be 1 or 2 of them standing up grazing is what I'm thinking. Wind's hitting me hard in the face. I get to that corner. There's not a doe in sight. I'm like, money. I've made it to checkpoint that I want to be to. There's a sagebrush that I want to get to. As I start to climb up to it, there's a bunch of skunk brush, which is like a short shrub that's like as high as your knee, and it's really loud. And even though there was a good wind in my face, I didn't like that I had to take 4 to 6 steps through that being really loud, or I could scoot to my left, another 6 yards, and I had about 2 steps through skunk brush, but exposed my head a little bit more where I rose up. So I was more willing to take that than make noise going through the other stuff. So all that being said, I got arrow knocked. I'm just baby stepping up this rise, looking for, I know the buck's antlers are ahead of me, so I'm like looking for does. And all of a sudden, on my corner of my eye to my left, I catch a doe's head, and she sees me when I see her. So it's like a stop. I don't drop. I just keep, I'm just sitting there, crouched over, have my rangefinder in my right hand, and through the grass, I'm ranging her. She stands up, And I get a range on her, and she's whatever. She's like 50, 54 yards. And so I just sit there, and she's like doing like the nervous, like look at me, but she's not sure. Remember, there's Black Angus cows in this pasture as well. They're way up on the ridge above us, but she doesn't know I could be a cow, something. And she's only seen a glimpse, like a little bit of me through the grass. And so I just sit there, and I'm like, in years past, I probably would have tried drawing back and standing up, knowing the buck is right there somewhere. I probably would have tried to crouch down. I would have made extra movement, something, but instead, I just held. And finally, she does like I call it the head bob, where they like try to check you out, and they act like they're gonna eat, and then they pop their head back up. They wait for you to move when they look like they're unassuming, right? She
Whitetail
did
do
that
the
like
same thing.
absolutely. A whitetail do the
Yeah.
absolutely the same thing. Whitetail usually like turn quarter away from you and look back, put their head down, bop their head, like. And so she was like kind of walking. She was trying to gain elevation so she could look down on me, but she wasn't gaining any more elevation. She had kind of tapped out. So she's like working up, and then I can tell she's leveled out. Well, all she did is get the next doe up. And when the next doe stood up, I was like, bam, that's the doe that I know that I could see from the top that was next to the buck. So now I have reference. I'm like, okay, that buck's got to be right there. Get a range on her. And now I'm just sitting here, I'm just waiting. Well, they kind of go to like feeding because the second doe, I always have the theory, like the herd mentality. I think it's on cow elk too. I love hunting cow elk late season. It's like if one of them sees you and you just hold tight, and the other one, like, she like double checks with Betsy and goes, Betsy, did you see something over there? She's like, nah, I didn't see anything over there. All right, well, I'm just gonna chill out. Then it's like once they get reassurance from their mate that they didn't see anything, and you just don't get caught, that herd mentality, it hurts them. That's where hunting with herds is hard because of all the eyes, like you just said. Like, how do you get them through all the eyes? But if you can fool their eyes just enough to get them to relax, and you are in the zone, like I was in archery range, just chill out, dude. Those deer went back to grazing. All of a sudden, these two does are grazing. This all happens in a matter of 2 minutes, maybe. All of a sudden, I see his antlers. Boom! They start coming into the frame. Like they're coming from right to left. He's literally coming to check these two does. And so that being said, I've already had arrow knocked. Rangefinder's in my hand. I'm getting ranges on him, ranges on him, ranges. The does have started grazing so much that their heads are completely gone. All I can see is the buck broadside. Now my feet were staggered because I got caught as I was climbing up this hill. So I'm a right-handed shooter, so my left foot's always forward. Well, when I started up the hill, my right foot is actually higher than my left foot, so I ease down so I can come to full draw, and I ease up, switch my feet, and I come up to shoot. And so that few amount of seconds, he got a couple yards further on me than when I last ranged him. So I actually shot, and I shot a little bit lower than I want to, but it absolutely hammered the deer. But anyway, so I pop up, he's quartering hard away. I had to let him walk a couple more steps before he gave me a good hard quartering shot, and was able to execute the shot, and it was done. He went 51 yards and flipped over. So it's it was very lucky. Like that doe in another instance, that doe could have blown out too, right? Say there wasn't black cows in that pasture. That's what I think was my saving grace. It's just when you add that factor of these deer having to be around these black cows a bunch, like I think she
Yeah.
had the assumption in her mind that I wasn't a predator. I was more of just another big ungulate, right? And running through the grass. And so it was like an eased her mind. Yeah, I was lucky that I was able to give them a soft bump and they only went one draw. Because if it had went two or three draws, then they would have been back on private. So it was a really ballsy move. So when you ask, like, yeah, super aggressive. Got to make my move now, all that stuff. That all went into play in one stock. Had to beat a bunch of eyes, had to play the public private game. It was middle of the day, so at least it was as hot as it was going to be for the day. So that rutted buck was kind of just chilling a little bit. If it
Yeah, a
had
little
been
calm
cooler,
down. Yeah.
yeah, if it had been cooler, he probably would have been moving a whole bunch more, right? And so it was kind of the perfect scenario. So you just kind of played into all those key factors, and you have to go now. Like there's no with rutting deer, you can't sit on your hands and wait for a better opportunity. Like maybe you have to wait for them to go to a spot so you can get to the next spot, or wait for a wind to shift. But you have to be on your feet. It's a very aggressive style of hunting when you're hunting mule deer in the rut.
Yeah.
That was a very
Dude,
long-winded answer to that
well,
question, but
here's like before I even, because I had a couple things like in that story that I want to ask about, like technical stuff. But like the whole time I'm sitting here and I'm just like thinking about like, dude, when you like when if somebody listens to stories about people that excel at their craft, like they are locked in like in the moment, and they are like fine tuned to every single detail. And like those past 15 minutes, Sam literally could tell you every single step he took, every single part of the situation, like from hundreds and hundreds of yards away, where I feel like a lot of guys would freeze up in all those little thousands of like decisions that you had to make the whole time. But Sam was just like decisive and committed, was like, go now, stop now, go now, stop now, like go. And dude, like those are the things that kind of that just get me fired up, because I can tell you're just switched on, and like and that's what it takes sometimes.
Well, yeah, I've screwed up a lot. If I
Yeah.
like, man, for all the critters I've killed with my bow, I've probably messed up on 4 times that many, right? I keep track of how many stalks it takes me per animal that I've killed. Like in the last, I could tell you probably at least the last 7 years of mule deer, I could tell you how many stalks per animal. Like I really take pride in like knowing what I could have done better. My elk this year, for instance, I wish I could have had one step different. I killed a great bull within seconds of a mistake and made up for it within seconds. Um, but yeah, it's I think even in the stock that I just did, I told you that buck got a few yards extra on me, and I actually hit him lower than I wanted to. I wish I would have realized that. I didn't realize, and you can thank God I had the video, because you can see on the footage of when I come to full draw, when I get the range, I come to full draw, I had to switch my feet. Like there was just a couple things there that took a 1/1000, a 2/1000 as he's moving that I wasn't accounting for. So he gained some yardage on me, and that's why I shot low. So I think every time that I get done with anything, I want to know what could I have done better? How could I have done it different? Yeah, and I'm way too
Yeah.
detailed about my hunting. My wife she just rolls her eyes when I start telling another hunting story. It's like, here we go. Sam's gonna be so full of shit. Like,
No, dude, I love it though. You're constantly auditing and trying to get better and just finding all the little ways to just improve for next time. And like that's seems like that's the secret sauce. And like I wanted to ask you like one part of the story too that you said though, like obviously you're hunting aggressive, your style is just aggressive. You want to hunt aggressive like in this style in this type of hunt as well. But when you kind of came up over that rise and there were some does, or that doe was like looking at you, and you said maybe at one time like you would have just kind of like drew back and came up over the top and like then try to get your pin on the buck. um I feel like that's something that I would probably do. Like, and you never know, like it that might have worked. And but what else kind of went through your mind in that moment where you were like, no, just be patient? Because the times I've gotten in the red zone, like it's so hard, like you have that tension for so long during that stalk, and you almost like, as much as you want to punch a tag and kill the animal, you just want that like, just get that like like break that tension. You know what I mean? Like you just want it like done, because it's just so like it's just so stressful and everything. But you also don't want to screw it up. So it's like there's that balance there. But what made you be like, okay, I've been really aggressive right now, but right now I'm just gonna like wait for my opportunity.
I think if you like Brian Barney will say this. He'll say, patience kills the buck. That's a saying he says. That's something I take to heart. Also, a lot of people, this is like a strategy. A lot of people on the other instance, when something sees them, they want to duck down, right? You want to get out of sight. Well, that's extra movement. So I froze. When they look at you, you freeze. They don't know if they saw what they saw. So that animal's having to deliberately think. In my younger years, like it's taking me time to learn all of this, right? Going through the timber, cow elk catches you moving, you duck down. Well, now she's really got you busted. Now going through the timber, if a cow elk busts me, like I just lock up, just
Well,
freeze
they're
up.
gonna like, movement is something that they're gonna see the best. So
Absolutely,
it's like you're
absolutely.
just
So I
digging
don't
yourself deeper. Yeah.
exactly. I don't wear camouflage. I don't do any of that. So I don't do scent elimination. Like I worry about movement. Like the movement is what you can't fool their nose and you can't fool the wind. So you hunt the wind and you don't move, right? Don't get caught moving and hunt the wind. Very, very, very simple things. Like remember that, right? And so that's like I didn't duck down because I had faith that she was gonna have to figure it out. I had the patience to wait her out because I knew he's right there. Like I am in the zone. I know that I'm within. I before I even ranged her, I was like I could shoot that. Like your distances. Like shot for years out of my corner of my eye. I can tell she's sub 60. So I knew I'm on him. I knew I just needed to chill out. Like all of those things went through my head that fast. And then, like I said, in years past, I probably may have hustled it and stepped up. The last 10 seconds of a stalk are the most important seconds of the stalk, right? There's times to run, there's times to walk, there's times to I think people get caught up in the moment of I've got here, and kind of like you said, you want to feel that tag, you feel that extra pressure, you want to force through it. That's the last time you want to force through it. I have to even tell myself to slow down on those last 3 steps, peeking up on that rise to that dough. And that's where it worked out. Like I had told myself to go easy through that brush and ease myself up. And I was easing up so slow. Yes, she caught me movement, but I didn't move fast enough for her to like get eyes. I mean, I hadn't moved fast enough for me to completely expose myself through the tall grass. So she was looking at me through tall grass because of that last 10 seconds motto in my mind of just make this last 10 seconds be the most important. So like ease into every single thing. Your eyes are scanning. Your head's not turning. You're looking with your eyes. You're not looking with your face. You know, you don't want any shade or sun on your face, and all that stuff's going through my mind as I'm easing up. And I gotta get my big old noggin up so I can even see what's going on. Well, there's a lot of factors that are like your head comes up way before your eyes get there. You got 6 inches of hat and hood and whatever you have on coming up. So it's like everything's got to be slow and deliberate, but your eyes got to be on point because you got to catch the movement before they do. And so yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking as I'm easing my head up and I'm looking to make that shot and to not force it. You always have more time than you think too. That's a thing. Like when you people, if you get to full draw, don't rush it. Like whatever method, if you're a trigger puncher like me, if you do the Joel Turner method, like all the other guys that are the good guys do, I suck at shooting. I take pride in my shooting, but I don't do it. I don't ever want anybody to watch me, teach me. I'm a trigger puncher, son of a bitch. Joel Turner calls me Mike Tyson. Like, that's how I do it though. But I've always, when I get to full draw and put my pins on something, I was like, take your time. Like you have more time than you think. Unless you're shooting an antelope, they see you, they're gone. You better jam the trigger. Just kidding. But antelope are fast. But mule deer, they're gonna give you that 1,000, 1,000. They're gonna give you that extra. Take that breath, settle that pin, pull that shot off. I mean, so yeah, that's kind of the diagnosis of like right in that last home stretch, I guess, if you will, of getting an arrow going in the right direction.
Yeah, and like just other lessons learned, like just from the red zone that I got this year was like, so I sat on my buck for I don't know, like 3 or 4 hours this year, and he was just like bedded in like this little wash way up in these cliffs, and I actually did pop over the top, and he was on his feet feeding, and a stupid mistake that I mean, I did arrow the buck, but I arrowed him. I should have killed him at 20 yards. I was right on top of him, but I shot him at like 45. He bounced. Because so stupid, and I want to like pick your brain a little bit. Maybe if you have any advice for ranging, like what I should have did. And I was sitting there for so long, and I had range like rocks. Like I couldn't see the buck like where I was because he was kind of like in this little depression, but I knew I was right on top of him. And I was ranging like all these like rocks kind of out in front, like maybe if he comes out and feeds in front of me, like range here. But when I came up over the wash and like knowing the buck was going to be right there, I just made the stupid mistake of like grabbing my rangefinder and I had it in my hand. And I actually did have it on my face and clicked and it said like 20 yards. And I was like, Sam, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Shoot the deer. So like I immediately, that was the other thing too. I didn't have it on a tether. I was like another lessons learned I wrote down too. I was like, put this thing on a tether. That way, like if I do need to just drop it versus like screwing around putting it back in my pouch, like just drop it and then draw. But I was so mad at myself. I was like, what are you doing? Like come to full draw. Like just knowing kind of when, and then so the buck then had looked up at me because also when you said it too, it made me think like when I kind of poked my head up over in this wash, yeah, he picked me off. Like you forget, like, your eyes aren't the top of your head. Like
Yeah.
that was such like a good tip too, because that's kind of like where it started. But then he bounced to 45. I did like give him like a meh, but he had like quartered away touch and looked back and then I drilled him. But I didn't have to go through all that. I don't think I could have killed him right 20 yards right above him if I wasn't so stupid. But I don't know. That was a lessons learned for me. Like, just it's not like I'm just so fixated on like, yeah, you got to range and then shoot. Well, there's times like, every scenario is unique. So I don't know if I have a
So
good like nugget there, but that would be
no,
it. Like, yeah.
you're totally right. Yeah, every scenario is its own deal though. Like, cause that's 100% right. Yeah, especially if you've been sitting there for 5 hours or whatever, 4 hours, you've ranged so much. You should know, like, obviously, you knew what 45 looked like. You
Yeah.
knew that when he
Yeah.
bounded up to that, you had that pegged, right? So it's like, sub 30 is a 20 pin on that sucker.
dude, I don't know. I
Yeah.
was just so wired to be like, before you range, before you shoot. So like I
Yeah.
went to grab that first, and it's like just that dumb mistake of like not thinking it through, even in the red zone, keeping a calm mind. Like, I it worked out, but I easily could have screwed that up.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
There's scenarios I've missed. I shot under bull a couple of years ago. The last range I got was, I don't even remember what it was, 37, 38, and it was a bull that was in front, and they were coming through some deep grass right at me. The bull in the back is the one that I wanted. And anyways, they turned to go down. All I could see was from like, I was crouched, and I knew when I stood up I was going to expose the whole elk. So it was like I was literally judging the yardage of this bull from his antlers up. Like I'm looking at his antlers and knowing that the close bull was at like 40 some, I don't even remember the yardage. And I'm like literally looking at this bull, trying to guess the yardage, how far he was. And I could tell when he turned broadside, and the first bull had dipped off. And the other bull was way back, and he turned and dips off. And so, like, I stand up with that mindset of that yardage was stuck in my head that I decided, like, I didn't have time to range. That's what I'd range. I knew that he was like sub 60, so I felt confident. I grew up without a rangefinder. Not that that makes it any better, but I grew up where we didn't have a rangefinder. I went to 3D shoots for my whole probably 15 years of shooting a bow. Rangefinders weren't even allowed at 3D shoots. Like people don't remember that, right? And so like you had to judge yardage and you had to be good at it. And I take a lot of pride in knowing like though the deer that I was on yesterday with my daughter, I couldn't get my rangefinder out because this doe came, just bam, she appears, this whitetail. We're spotting a stalking whitetail on a creek bottom. She pops out. I literally look at the tree that she's behind. I cut it in half in like 15. That tree's 30. She's about 7 to 8 yards past it. She literally walks out of sight, and I range where she was standing. It was 37.8 yards. I nailed it, 38 yards. So like I take a lot of pride still in that. But yes, I've shot under. I shot under by a misjudged bull about 7 yards, looking at his brow tines up like 3 years ago. Shot right under a bull because I was training that. So every scenario is different. You most of the time, yes, I would love to tell you how you get my rangefinder out every single time, nail it every time. This year on a big bull elk, he was coming in so fast. It was literally like 106, 102, 100, 98, 96, 95. He is running that fast. He's coming to a meadow that I'm in. The wind's blowing. He's coming in at my 8 o'clock, and my wind's blowing at my probably let's say 6 o'clock. I mean, he is weird. He's just missing my wind that's going downhill. He's coming up this edge of this park. The last range I get him is 66. I turn my rangefinder; it's wide open to him. And the edge of the trees is 57 yards. He comes strolling right past that tree, screaming and bugling. He's coming. He starts turning broadside to catch my wind, and he's going to walk into my wind. I come to full draw, knowing full well he's going to stop. He stops. The last range I got was 57 on the tree. The last range on him was 62. He came past the tree. I remember I pulled both my eyes out of my peep, looked at it, and went, he's came a long ways. He's like 40 yards. And I put my 40 pin on that bull, and I shot right underneath him. And he spins, whirls, and runs. The dude was a stud. At the same time, no one's even heard the story of my close buddies. There's another bull bugling coming down the ridge to my cow calls, and he's screaming. This is simultaneous. Both bulls are coming in. Big 6-point spins, whirls, runs, keeps bugling. The one I miss turns, and he's coming up behind those trees. So he's like 70 in the tree, still coming up the ridge now. And I knock another arrow, turn to my left just in time to catch the bull that I end up killing, pop out of the trees at 33 yards. I didn't even have a range there. Yeah, that was complete. I didn't knew that was 35. I held 35. He pokes his head around that tree. Stuck an arrow in him. He runs right past me. Runs right past where the bull that I just shot under at 40 spins. Starts to come back. I get another arrow knocked. This time I hold about 45, 50 because he's in the same right where that other bull is just standing. I stick a second arrow in him. Bull goes 80 yards and flips over dead. So there's where like all of everything I've learned in 26 years of bow hunting came into it in one meadow. I screwed up just as fast as I recuperated, stuck two perfect arrows in a bull. So, I mean, that's people can preach all they want, say that, whatever. It's what I did. And like bow hunting is wild, and you have to, I mean, I killed a really big 6x6 this year. It happened to be two giants coming in at one time.
That was yeah, I was going to ask you, that was this year's bull?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
And
nice,
so
dude.
yeah, thank you. It was lucky. Yes, I heard both bulls coming. I was trying to play the wind as best I could because the first bull I missed was coming in hot from 800 yards at a dead run. and I didn't have time to get the wind any better. I had to play the cards I was dealt, and just so happens another bull came running down the ridge, and I got another gift from the hunting gods that there was another one there because I whiffed a shot, and then I made two shots. I put two perfect arrows in the bull literally 30 seconds later. So it was you try to prepare for everything and you can't. I can't even say that I was shook up because I can tell you exactly how my pins laid. I thought about how that when that bull came, I knew he was going to stop when I had to draw back though because he was going to hit my wind. So it was either I come to full draw and he stops at my draw, or he catches my wind and blows out and I don't even get a shot at him. Yes, I missed him, shot low on him, but literally seconds later, this other bull pops out and I see his G3s and huge bottom end sticking out of this tree. He's looking through a jack pine right at me, steps to the side of it, and I was able to get an arrow in him, and then I get a second arrow in him, which is always the best feeling ever to watch another arrow buried, fletch deep into a bull. Actually blew all the way through him. Yeah, man, that's it's I don't even know where we started with that, but
Killer. No, I don't know either.
that's what the red zone is like
Yeah, man.
sometimes. And it's like I've screwed up so many times where I would have missed the second for the first bull. I wouldn't even got a shot at because I'd have been waiting for him to, I don't know, to turn completely broadside, just maybe stop him. I wouldn't have tried drawing because there was absolutely nothing between me and him. I literally came to full draw on a bull as he's walking, looking right at me in a meadow. And I knew that my draw was going to stop him. I didn't make a sound. Um, in years past, he'd have winded me and blown out. Then I'd have been so shook up that I wouldn't even have got a shot at the second bull because I'd have been trying to run at the other one or do something stupid. I stood up or been mad because I missed and just kept my head in the game, knocked another arrow, got right back in the zone, and another bull popped out and stuck an arrow in him. I don't know. I've definitely screwed up, though, a pile. I could tell you more stories, and I remember the ones that I missed. I killed a bull 30 seconds after I missed. That miss, I was thinking about the gym. I was at the gym working out this morning. I was listening to Dan Staten podcast, and he had a guy on there talking. I learned so much from that elk hunt this year. Even though, yes, I stuck a bull. That first shot, though, it eats me right now that I missed that shot. That not only was he giant, he was probably 20 inches bigger bull, but it was just one of those moments. I was like, I pride myself in my shooting and all the things I do, and to have that miss, it's a hard one to swallow, but I damn sure learned from it. These next couple hunts that I got left, a cow elk hunt and a whitetail, like yeah, I'll crush them just because I just have confidence that just set me up for success having that one failure. So
Yeah, and you're letting it fuel you, dude. And I mean, dude, I just love the energy. I love, just killer stuff, man. But both this, mule deer story we talked about and this elk hunt we're talking about, you said both times like, oh, I got lucky. I felt a little lucky. But dude, you put in the work. You don't quit. It's predators never quit, right? So
yeah.
you can't. Can you chop it up to luck? And that's kind of what I wanted to go here too. Like, so that's our mantra, right? Well, what if you were to explain to somebody what that really means, what does that really mean to you?
Predators never quit is it's truly a motto that like it sounds so maybe simple, but it's just because it's the never quit. When I think of predators never quit, it came up with it in 2013. I can tell you the ridge I was sitting on when I thought of it. I always look at like a wolf or a grizzly, or I look at the meanest predators you can think of as that's as simple as it is. It is a true predator, and I always think like the dogs got to have fight. Like they got to have fight to survive. Like those animals live through the harshest things to survive. Like they can't quit or they die. And it's like a predator truly never quits to survive. And I just try to have that dog mentality on everything. And I think I try to even more than hunting, like as far as like work, life, and a husband and a father, it's that predators never quit mantra. It's because nothing's easy, right? Nothing is easy that we do in life. Everything's a competition, whether it be your job, whether it be, I look back as I used to run a fencing crew on the ranch, and I had a bunch of college kids that work underneath me, and I always tell them that like everything was a competition at work. Like you could never take a break. Like if one guy was running the auger, digging post holes. So for one thing, even though I was the foreman or crew boss, I would always let one of the younger hands earn his spot to sit in the skid steer with the air conditioner and auger holes while I sit out there and shovel. And then so we were setting 12-foot posts, 4 foot in the ground. So then we hand tamped them with tamping bars, right? So while that was going on, you had to either be curling the tamping bar, shoulder pressing the post. The post weighed like 60 pounds. So some guys couldn't like hold them and overhead shoulder press them, but you had to just like keep pressing them. There was never a break. And I just, that mindset of like no breaks, because I'd always look at him like, you got it easy right now, man. I said, this is the easiest time you're gonna have it. We're in college. You're worried about drinking beer tonight. Like this, your summer vacation. Like this is the easiest it's ever gonna be. Everybody is fighting for your position. Everybody is fighting to be better than you. So like that was prior. I guess P and Q Predators Never Quit started in that same exact time. It happened to be on an elk hunt that I've always had that mindset. I was never the best football player. I was never the best wrestler. I was never the best at any of the sports. I loved playing all the sports, and I busted my ass for my coaches, like I and my team. Like I loved to play, knowing that I wasn't the best, knowing there was studs on the team, right? But it was like just try your hardest. And like I look back, and some of my most favorite plays were when I was a junior, and I'd strip sack like one of the badass running backs on our team in like in one of our big scrimmages, like one of the horses that went and played D1 ball, and if I stripped the ball out of him or got a big play on him, like he would get so pissed off because one of the underclassmen, made him look like a fool in front of everybody. Like those are some of the biggest memories I had. It was just because you tried hard, right? And so I've taken that to the fullest. And hunting is my thing now. Hunting is my stadium now. Hunting is my life. And that Predators Never Mind set, like, it sticks with me forever. Like I can look at my mule deer hunt this year. I came out on a Sunday afternoon. I'd been hunting deer hard for 2 days and hadn't and then I put ended up getting a stalk in. It's like just under 100 degrees. I came out on a Sunday afternoon because I'd blown this stalk, and these deer went into a big canyon where I couldn't find them. For one thing, it was so hot, and there was tons of pinions and junipers. And then I wasn't going to find them, and I wasn't going to stalk. No, it's Sunday. My family's at home, so I pulled out. It was only 6 or 7 miles. It wasn't like I was in there that far. Pulled out, came all the way to town, and come out, and I hung with the girls that night. And I would literally get in bed with my wife, and I was like, you know what, babe? I was leaving 2 days later to go elk hunting. And I told her, I was like, I'm going back in there tomorrow. I was on that buck today. I said, I bet I can find him again tomorrow. So I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, drove all the way back out, hiked 6.5 miles back in there without a camp on my back this time. 6.5 miles back in there. No shit. I got in there. I found that deer 85 yards from where I'd put him to bed the day before and blown the stock. He literally bedded on the same ridge, 80 yards away, same 2-point with him, same 3x3 and full velvet with him. I was able to slip around and get an arrow in him by like 1 o'clock that afternoon. I had a dead buck at 30 yards. So right there is like that's the predator. There's a perfect example how I used it a month and a half ago. Like that is, you can't kill him sitting on the couch. If you love bow hunting, you love doing whatever it is, you have to be all in, or why waste your time? Like that's it. Like that's the Predators Never Quit. Like it's all in or nothing. 100 miles an hour or nothing, or else I don't really care about it. So, and and hunting is something that no matter how lucky I've been or successful I've been, every single time I step foot in the hills, it's a challenge, man. Like there's nothing that's given when you're bow hunting. There's absolutely nothing that's a given when you're bow hunting.
Dude, you're a dog. I love it. Dude, but that's it, man. Like I'm nowhere near where I want to be yet, like as a backcountry hunter. But like I told you before you record, like I just moved out here to Boise. Like just being more and more aggressive, like just in the different crafts of my life has actually been like, people want to know what like the magic is. And it's like, I don't know what the hell to tell you. Like, that's what it is. So like when I got out here and like I didn't even move into my apartment, I had this non-resident deer tag I picked up. I did like 10 minutes of e-scouting like in this unit. I was like, I'm going up on that ridge, got off work at 5, pulled in there at 7, hiked up, like it was already dark, hiked up onto this ridge, a couple thousand feet, pitched up my Helleberg at midnight. I had just moved across the country 2,000 miles away. I was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? But like, I was just like, I'm punching this tag. I don't even know this state. Like, and, yeah. And I feel it too, because I'm like, yeah, I had to have been maybe a little bit of luck or whatever, but then I woke up even before. I still don't know what the mountain looks like. I slept for a few hours. I woke back up, had another like 800 feet to climb. Then the sun comes up. Then I'm like, oh, this is actually like pretty nice up here. I'm like, okay, here's some buckbrush. Like this is what I thought was going to be here on this south face. Sure enough, this buck was feeding, and like I shot him in his bed. I toted the rifle up there. I shot him at like 254, but yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, this is it. Like, this is how you, like, people want to know, like, how to get it done. Like, that's how you get it done. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Dude, and you are like, I told you this before the podcast. You're next level. Like to move across the country.
No, don't call me next level. Like,
But
no.
that's totally incredible to me because like I told you also, I am just lucky where I grew up. I grew up with a dad that was a hunting guide. So much as that, like, I honestly only bow hunted with my dad like 2 times. Like, not he never had the tag. My dad was an older dad. He was too busy guiding, so I never got to hunt with like my dad. Right? As far as like bow hunt with my dad, I guided a lot with my dad, so I got to see hunting how it was done. Right? Rifle hunters, tons and tons and tons of that. But as far as like the bow hunting thing, I cut my teeth solo, like just being a punk ass kid chasing absolutely everything. Like, people too, they want to say like I heard you say backcountry, man. Go find some whitetail to kill. Go get knock on these doors, these landowners, and go chase these cow elk. Like you're doing it absolutely perfectly. Just go chase everything. Like go chase everything. I didn't start off hunting mule deer in the backcountry. I didn't start off hunting all these elk at 10,000 feet and like the most badass places. Like I didn't play that game my whole life. Like it was anywhere that I could get a tag and anybody that would let me hunt, we would go chase critters on it, right? And so I think that's so overlooked to just go have fun and just get reps and you're putting meat on the table. It's awesome. The adventures are cool. Like you can make a freaking whitetail doe hunt as intense as you want.
Yeah.
Like it could be fun. I don't know. That's what I've looked. That's how I've looked at bow hunting, and that's how I still look at bow hunting. It's cool now because I have an 8-year-old daughter, and she's all about it. Like if I mean, like guys want to brag about their kids and stuff. I got an 8-year-old little girl that can watch a YouTube video and she can tell you about the shot of on an animal. She can tell you where that arrow hit and if it was good or if it wasn't. How much time you think you probably give. I mean, that intense of detail. She's a little like crazy about it. Like you go in her room on Saturday night or Friday night. We hunted both Saturday and Sunday, and her room is laid out. She's got her leggings there. She's got her pants that she's gonna wear, socks on top of that, her coat, her gloves, the rattling horns. Like she's ready to rock because we're going
Love it.
whitetail hunting. And it's like, so I got an intense little kid, and so to see it through her eyes again, like it's kind of like it's really fired me up about chasing these whitetail. It's been a lot of fun. We don't get to sit in a blind real long because her attention span's not that great. She wants to move and rattle and crawl and sneak and do all the things. So yeah, man, like you are doing it. You moved across the damn country and did it. It's like so you created your own luck. Call it lucky that there happened to be a buck standing there, but you scouted, you drove the 2,000 miles. Like there's not really any luck in that. That's you like created
I think
this and it's
it's
gonna happen, man.
just like a relentless, like, and then sometimes, because then, like, even, and I've had other hunts, like, you know, punching some tags out here. But then I grew up hunting whitetails and turkeys and stuff. And luckily, I did grow up on, I mean, I'm not saying I grew up on like a big ranch, but like a couple acres. My dad had enough for us to bow hunt and, like, get these reps in we're talking about. I think that's been hugely helpful. I think it's just like, but when sometimes you're on these hunts and you're way backpacked in the mountains, I think just being relentlessly aggressive has definitely served me more than hurt me. And what's the hardest part though is like the doubt creeps in. It's like sometimes, at least for me, it's like, what the hell am I doing way back here? Sometimes when I backpack in like far, then I'm like, oh, like if I don't turn up anything here, like I'm losing like a whole day to get out of here and pack out somewhere else. And like, but I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, well, I think going forward, I'm going to think a lot of those, like when I get those feelings more, like when I'm out there, like maybe like oh, I feel like an idiot. More often than not, that's led to like me getting on an animal. So I'm like going
Absolutely.
to use that as like, no, this is the sign that like being aggressive, going maybe against the norm, going in like further than what a lot of people would do.
Hmm.
I think that's actually, that's the secret. Like my brother, he doesn't do the whole social media that much, but he's one of those guys that doesn't post a lot, but he kills more shit than like anybody I'd ever meet. And he's the man. Like he's somebody I look up to, like you wouldn't believe. But last weekend we're texting. I'm out there, I'm glassing up these mule deer, and I'm like, "What are you up to this weekend?" Because he's always getting into something. We grew up on the western part of Pennsylvania, and New Jersey brought back bear hunting, and you can bait for bears. And I
Okay.
started doing that before I moved out here. And my brother, oh, we loved it, dude. It was so fun. Um, but my brother, who he is Predators Never Quit. If not including you, if I had to pick somebody else, it would be my older brother. Um, uh, at 6, well, it would be 8:30 his time. He said, "I'm getting some sleep right now because I'm getting up in a little bit." Again, 8:30 p.m. He's like, "I'm waking up in a little bit to drive to New Jersey because I have to go scout and bait for bears and then get back home." So I don't know what time he left, probably midnight. And he does this. He does this too for like duck hunting because he's just a psycho. Like they'll just not sleep and go. So he was like, "Yep, haven't slept." I texted him the next day, "Haven't slept yet. Just got done. Hiked 15 miles today. Got 4 bear baits in and scouted 3 deer spots and hung cameras. And now I'm heading home." And then he says, "I can't really see straight. LOL." But like and drive like and it was like a 6-hour drive there, 6-hour drive back. So it's like, and people ask him like, how's he tacking out on a couple bears, like 3 or 4 out of state whitetails a year and stuff, and it's like that's
There
it
it
right
is.
there, dude. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to do it. It's like, doesn't matter what it is, you got to do it. I have my little cousin. I say little, he's younger. I work with him. He's a savage. He's the exact same way. He's married, but they don't have any kids. Like I always give him shit because he has a perfect setup. But yeah, he'll leave on a Friday night, drive 4 hours, and then hike 3 hours, get to bed at 1 in the morning, wakes up on a glassy knob, and he's 400 miles from home. He's hiked 4.5, 5 miles in the dark. It was snowing sideways, and he's shooting at deer the next morning. You know what I mean? When most people are just trying to figure out what they're gonna do for morning breakfast, he's already done all that. And he's a very successful hunter, and he's done it exactly like you're saying. That's what it takes. It truly. I look at it. My wife, she doesn't even say I'm crazy. Like she doesn't even question. Like if it's hunting season, she knows I'm going. Like we got back from the mountains this year with elk and everything. I still had a cow tag in another unit that I've hunted quite a bit with friends. But I told her it was like Friday night. I was like, hey, I'm loading horses up in the morning. I was like, I don't know when I'll be back. I'm leaving. It's just the weekend. But I was like, I had a cow tag, elk or bugling. It was September. It's like I'm going to the woods. It was the last weekend of September. I was gonna go give her hell. And I think I went and put like 20 some miles on my horses that day in one day just to cover new country, scouted a bunch, found where a bunch of. If I'd have had elk easy in front of me moving across the trail or got into a herd that was talking when I was riding quietly on my horses, I would have tried and put a sneak on them. But like I glassed elk, they were like a couple miles away. I wasn't that intense on killing a cow unless it was it was a gimme. It was more of just I want to get out in the hills, kind of what your brother just did. I want to get in the
Yeah.
hills during
Dude, he was
September.
just this is in that text I read, that was just to scout. Season doesn't
Exactly.
even start yet. Like, you know what I
That's
mean?
awesome.
Like he's
Yeah,
a dog.
but
Yeah.
that's what it
That's what it
takes. And
takes. Yeah.
but if you love it, it's not like it
It's
was work.
right, it's not work. It's
Eh,
fun. Yeah.
exactly. Like I looked forward to doing that, and it made my horses better. I had a young horse, a 3-year-old with me, and I packed a bow on him, and I was in rough country, and we were going some steep, steep stuff and crossing some big creeks and pretty big water actually on that trip. And it was just me. It was just me, my horses, and my dog with a bow and a cow elk tag. Like, and yeah, it's just what you do when you love it. And yeah, man, that's it. That's it. That's the Predators Never Quit mindset, and that's about creating your own luck too, I guess. When you put yourself in those situations. Oh, but you started to say when the doubt creeps in, that feels like that's when you've had the most success. Truly, I feel like it's like your mind's like you're kicking into fourth quarter, you're kicking into the ninth inning, and it's subconsciously it. As I've gotten older, 40 years old now, man. This was my 26th bow season, 26th year bow hunting, and I have patience. My patience as I've gotten so much more just like to trust the process. Like you're out there busting your ass. We were in a spot on this last hunt. We were in a spot for 2 days, and we're sitting on the middle of a blasting knob, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The wind's howling, and I'd seen quite a few deer. And I just looked at Sam, the other guy's named Sam that I was with, the camera guy. I looked at him. I was like, dude, we need to switch it up. I was like, what do you think we go to my plan B spot, which required it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which required it required like a 6 mile hike out, packing up. We had a huge truck camp because it's November. We were truck camping. We were doing like 12, 13 mile days, packing up a truck camp, driving 200 miles and just throwing another dart at the map, right? Never been to this spot. And it was just like, but I say this, and we did it, and woke up to daylight the next morning, shoot a buck at noon the next day. So we're pulling an audible, essentially pulling an audible in the middle of the hunt. This was on day 3 of a 7-day hunt, and we just didn't have the right vibes. It wasn't what I was feeling, and we drove across a state, all the way across a state that I've never been to, in this one spot in the dark. Stop at a Burger King, get a burger, looking at Onyx a little bit, talk about, hey, maybe we can camp here. We're just sleep in our trucks tonight. Pull all that stuff to just, and then kill a buck the next morning. So, to exactly what you said, had a little bit of doubt creep in my head of where we were and didn't like the scenario. Literally the next day by noon, we had a buck on our backpacks and we were headed out. So, it's just a being relentless and the never quit attitude is completely paid off for me. So
And I think just loving it. Like that's just kind of what's hitting me now too, like loving it. Like going back full circle, talked about like you kind of thought of this, you think about that predator, that wolf, like he does it cuz he has to. I bet that wolf also loves to hunt, you know what I mean?
absolutely, they kill for
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, yeah.
They do.
So
Yeah.
I think that's also an element too. Like you gotta love it, dude.
Yeah, and it's true, and yeah, when it's all you eat, sleep, breathe. I mean, look at this room, man. It's my life. All
Dude,
my stuff there.
everything looks, that's goals
It's
right there. That's badass.
it's and I'm not saying that bragging. Like I hope you don't take
No,
that the wrong way.
no,
Like
no, not at all, dude. That's
it's
just a
truly
physical representation of like your passion, your art, your craft. That's what I'd take it.
yeah. Well, thank you, because it truly is, and it's like it's hard for me to like wrap my mind around it. Like that's what it has been, because I always tell my wife, I'm like, gosh, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging. I just, because I can get into hunting stories so much that I feel like I just nonstop talk. But it's like, man, it's what I love, and it's what I can explain the best, and it's who I am, and yeah. So it's not even work. It's just like an adventure, and it's a challenge, right?
Yeah, yeah, dude. And sometimes it's hard, but that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
that's what you
what
signed up
makes it
for.
worth it. Yeah,
Absolutely. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
that's it.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I could go all night. I just absolutely love this conversation. Love your attitude. Love everything about it. Um, I know you got some. You said you mentioned you had a cameraman on that mule deer hunt. Did you have any other hunts filmed this year?
Nope, nope. That was the only hunt that we filmed. That was first with Stone Glacier, and yeah, Sam Averett. He was the cameraman. He's a stud, man. That guy's an animal. It was a joy to go with him, hunting with him, and this hunt is our first time we've ever filmed one together. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I've seen some clips from it, and just the film footage we had. We got some epic footage, so it should be a cool hunt that he puts together. I'm excited to see it.
Awesome, dude. I'm looking forward to seeing it. That's what I wanted to plug too. So like you're kind of like tied up with the Stone Glacier guys. Like if people want to go watch some of your hunts, like that's where to find you on the Stone Glacier YouTube.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I had my old Predators Never Quit YouTube channel that I did a lot of years. And then I think 5 years ago now, Stone Glacier started. I was lucky enough to have a few hunts filmed by those guys, and yeah, so like the last few years, I put the camera away because I had a professional. It makes you really feel like an idiot when you look at my old films compared to a professionally edited film. You're like, dang, these guys are studs. But yeah. So Predators Never Quit was a YouTube channel. I have some old ones on there, but everything in the recent last 5 years has all been Stone Glacier. Stone Glacier's been their YouTube channel has a bunch of bow hunts on it.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Well, yeah, people can go check out those older videos too. I like going back and watching like just some of that older raw stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's
That's
funny to
awesome.
watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I watched I remember when it was On the Fringe, that elk hunt.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember watching that when that came out. And there's been some others that I've been meaning to watch, but I got to get caught up. But so good. And then even Stone Glacier. Like I haven't used a ton of their stuff, but I bought that the Sky Air Bivy and I basically
Oh yeah.
ran that through.
Sweet.
So before I made the move, I used all my, and I had this was all part of my master plan. I still can't believe it basically worked out. Like before I moved from Pennsylvania, this is so bad, but this is what I did. Like I put in a big notice, and then I had already planned months and months. Like actually earlier in the year, I said a lot of September I want to take off. Like, and they were all cool with that. Actually, my boss's boss was a fan of like Western hunting and watched some of my hunts on YouTube, so he was like, "Go! Like if you got the time, go."
How
But
cool.
then after kind of all that, I was leaving to then move out here. But anyway, I hunted a lot of September. I was very grateful for. Hunted in Colorado for mule deer, and then hunted elk here in Idaho. But yeah, anyway, I ran that the Sky Air, that bivy, and I really liked it because like you get that, like they market it as a bivy, but it's not like when I think bivy, I think of like those freestanding, real small, like a coffin, those outdoor research ones, which I've never
Yep.
tried, so I won't say anything. But I
It's
just
like
feel
sleeping in a
like
taco. I've slept in one. I've slept in those back in the day.
yeah, which I don't know if I mean I tried, but like I felt like with the Sky Air, you get the same like it's got to be just as light because that thing is like balls down to this big, and then you can just use your trekking pole. Or I even had a pole because I lost my one pole. I use a pole and a stick and set that
Hmm.
up, and then you still feel like you have the structure as like of a tent still. So
Oh yeah.
it was really nice. I liked it.
Sky Air is probably I've probably slept in a Sky Air in the last since we've had them. Some glaciers had them. I don't know more than I've slept in anything. I take it everywhere with me. It's the bomb. Run the mesh insert in the bottom of it and that little vestibule. And it packs up like the size of an Nalgene bottle. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm so excited to take it out. Like now that I'm out here, dude, come like this summer. I mean, I'm gonna spring bear hunt a ton, but like this summer, I just want to go psycho, like on the weekends, just scouting, and that's all I'm gonna bring, like my spotting scope and that little Sky Air, and I'm gonna have like every ridge here, like just scouted out and pinned out. So I'm so stoked.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, well, you're grinding. It's cool to hear your story. That's really cool to hear your story. You're a
Thanks, man.
stud, man.
Appreciate it. All right, I'll let you go. We'll wrap up, but go check out Sam on YouTube and all this stuff, and then Instagram page. Um,
Yeah, S Davis 2506. It's a random handle that my wife made for me. I didn't put my Instagram together like that. My wife made me do it about 8 years ago. So
okay,
that's what that is.
well go follow Sam. He kills a lot of shit, a lot of big shit, and he's a cool guy to follow in the industry. So appreciate you coming on, man. I'll let you go,
Dude,
and
thank you for all the
thanks.
kind word. Thanks for all the kind words, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it's great BSing with you for sure.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. We'll keep in touch. Everybody, thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. Hey, if you liked that episode, please share it with a friend, share it on your story, and give the podcast a rating and a review on wherever you listen. For more of this type of content, you can head over to the YouTube channel and follow along on all the social platforms. Really appreciate it. See you on the mountain.